Good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday. Today's a beautiful day. Oh my God, I can't wait to get outside and go for a walk. Um, Welcome to my channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share. Um, Knowledge is wealth, share it. Um, the topic that I have for today is called Lesson Learned. And I chose this topic for so many different reasons. I think a lot of the time we don't know what lesson learned looks like. And we don't understand the variations that come with lessons learned, right? Lesson learned, lessons that we have to learn, I should say, comes with transitions. And when we are in the lesson, obviously we don't even know we're in the lesson. Sometimes the lesson learned starts with good feelings and good experiences and good things. It feels riveting, it feels exciting, it feels it feels right. That's the perfect word to describe it. Everything feels really good. It feels amazing. But then our intuitiveness becomes activated, right? It starts to percolate a little bit. Situations may happen or things may happen to raise an eyebrow, right? To give a red flag. And we ignore it because we sometimes revert back to that initial feeling of how it's like so nice and it feels so good and it, all of those things. But then it starts to take a different lead. It starts to move into a different space. It starts to take on a different form, a different shape. It looks differently, but more importantly, it feels differently. And when it starts to feel differently is when we need to understand where we are in that space and time, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and in every way. When we learn lessons in life, we go through cycles and patterns. And I talk about cycles and patterns all the time, but we go through those cycles and patterns. And in the now, in the no, in the present, in the beginning of those things, obviously you have no idea that this is going to be a lesson learned. You have no idea that this is going to be an exit. You have no idea that this is going to be something that is not ultimately what you expected it to be. And that's with everything in life. It just doesn't matter what it is. It could be, it could be a work situation. It can be colleague situation. It could be friendship situation. It could be relationships. It can be friendships. It could be anything. It could really be anything. But when we get those intuitive messages, sometimes you're already trying to control the situation, right? Because that was another topic that I said. But all of these things really do tie in. And so when you try to control the situation, you're trying to control it because you're trying to understand what went wrong and why things happened the way that it did. Things always have to happen systematically. It always has to, because in order for the lesson to be learned, change is inevitable. And in order for change to happen, the lights will go out. It will be a dark space in that cycle, in that pattern that is going to create change. It's going to create uncomfortable feelings. It's going to create all of these things that we didn't initially recognize, but you can't recognize it because it's a lesson. It's something that you have to see. It's something that you have to endure. endure. It's something that you have to go through. It's a metamorphosis. You have to go through it in order to understand it, in order to heal from whatever it is that you need to heal from to grow into the person that you're supposed to be. Sit in your fulfillment, to sit in your purpose. All of these things play a role and play a part in that. And in order to do that, people have to happen. Experiences have to happen. Things in your life have to take place in your life. So lesson learned is something that we all have to experience. I think sometimes it's difficult to accept, right? Because when you're in a space of happiness and celebration and all of these things, it's hard to believe that things come to an end. But the lesson learned is equivalent to things coming to an end. It has to tie in. It has to be cohesive, because things have to come to an end in order for you to learn a lesson, in order for you to step into your space, in order for you to understand who you need to be and how you need to be that for each person in your space and in your life, and how to move in those spaces in your life, right? How to incorporate your spirituality, God, how to, or your ancestors, or just moving the way that you need to. Everyone doesn't believe in God. Everyone doesn't believe in a higher power, like everyone has their own way of thinking and their own way of moving systematically. But either way, there's always a lesson learned in anything and everything that we do, because it has to. In order for us to elevate, in order for us to step into our greatness, in order for us to step into our power, we have to experience these things, and these things don't always feel good. They don't. They leave you feeling isolated. They leave you feeling alone. Sometimes they leave you feeling confused. They leave you feeling all of these different feelings. But you have to tap into those feelings in order to understand the lesson. You have to sit in those feelings in order to understand the lesson. If you don't sit in those feelings and to understand the lesson, then when it presents itself again, and it will present itself again if you don't learn the lesson. If you don't learn the lesson, it will show up again and again and again and again until you absolutely learn the lesson. And so sometimes a beginning has an end, right? Most times a beginning has an end. It doesn't mean the relationships have an end. It means the way that you see things have an end. The way that you've communicated has an end. The way that you've bonded in the past has an end. The way that you perceive things, the way that you see things through your lens has an end. So everything has an end. But it's sitting in your awareness and understanding what you need to understand in order to learn the lesson. I hope that this makes sense, and I hope that this was insightful. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Take care.